All right, today we're jumping right in and unpacking India's 2026 Union Budget. Now, this is way more than just a bunch of numbers on a spreadsheet. It's really a strategic blueprint for where the entire country is headed. So let's get into it.
You know, right from the get-go, the finance minister sets a really powerful tone. This quote isn't just window dressing. What it's really doing is framing this entire budget as a continuation of a 12-year strategy. The message is clear. We're focused on decisive action and long-term reform, not short-term political wins.
So, how are we going to tackle this whole thing? Well, first, we'll start with the big picture vision. Then, we'll dive deep into the three core pillars of the budget. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with the most important takeaways you need to know.
So, what's the ultimate goal here? It all comes down to a concept called Viksit Bharat, which translates to a developed India by the year 2047. And this isn't just about hitting certain economic numbers. The budget frames it as a mission to turn the country's huge potential into real-world performance that, lifts everyone up.
To actually get there, the government has laid out these three core duties, or kartavyas. Think of them as the budget's guiding principles. First, hit the accelerator on the economy. Second, empower the people. And third, make absolutely sure that growth includes everybody. Sounds simple, right? Well, let's see how they're planning to pull it off.
Okay, let's tackle that first duty, accelerating growth. They've even got a catchy name for the strategy, the Reform Express, which pretty much signals they're planning to keep the foot on the gas, full steam ahead.
And a huge part of that strategy is just a massive spending push. We're talking about public capital expenditure, or CAPEX. That's the money the government spends on long-term assets, things like roads, ports, and power plants. And just look at this jump. We're talking a six-fold increase since 2014. The whole idea is that this kind of public spending creates jobs right now and builds the foundation for private investment and growth down the line.
Now, this investment isn't just being thrown around randomly, it's being channeled into 6 really key areas. And you can see it's a smart mix, right? You've got future-facing sectors like strategic manufacturing, alongside foundational elements like infrastructure and energy security. It's a broad but very targeted push across the entire economy.
So where is some of this money actually going? Well, this 10,000 crore rupee fund is a huge bet on one specific strategic sector, biopharmaceuticals. And the goal here is twofold. First, to develop treatments for diseases like cancer and diabetes right at home. And second, to turn India into a global manufacturing hub for these advanced medicines. But of course, growth isn't just about giant industries. The budget puts a huge focus on small and medium enterprises, the SMEs that really are the backbone of the economy. And there's a 3-part support package designed specifically to help them scale up and become what the government is calling global champions.
And that support is really comprehensive. It's not just about handing out money. You've got equity through a growth fund, you have support for cash flow by mandating a platform that helps speed up payments, and there's even professional help to navigate all the complex regulations. Basically, they're trying to tackle the biggest hurdles that small businesses face every day.
Okay, let's move on to the second duty and see how this builds on the economic plan. This part of the budget shifts the focus to what the speech calls India's greatest asset, its people.
This is a really fascinating pivot. The government is highlighting that after lifting 250 million people out of poverty, the focus is now shifting away from just basic needs and toward fulfilling aspirations. And the engine they've chosen for that is the services sector. The idea is to create high-quality, skilled jobs for India's massive youth population.
And what that means is creating skilled professionals in very specific, high-demand fields. We're seeing a big push in healthcare, a major focus on what's being called the orange economy, which is all the creative stuff like animation, visual effects, and gaming, also known as AVGC, and even upskilling in tourism. It's all about getting people ready for the jobs of tomorrow.
And this really shows the scale of the ambition here. Training 150,000 caregivers in a single year? That's not just some small program. It signals a major national effort to build a professional ecosystem for elder care and other critical health services.
So the third and final duty is all about making sure that the benefits of all this growth are shared as widely as possible. The goal here is inclusive development, with targeted efforts for specific communities and regions that might need a little extra support to catch up. This is where the budget gets very specific with its support. It's identifying groups like farmers, who are the backbone of the rural economy, and regions like eastern and northeast India that have historically lagged a bit in development, all to make sure they are not left out of this growth story.
And this support drills down into some very specific, targeted schemes. For example, there's a new coconut promotion scheme.
It's designed to directly support the 10 million farmers who depend on that one crop for their livelihood, helping them boost their productivity and ultimately their income.
All right, so we've walked through the vision and the 3 core pillars. So what's the big picture here? Let's step back and synthesize the main takeaways from this entire budget.
When you put it all together, the budget presents a very clear narrative. The strategy is to use massive public investment to fire up the economic engine, while at the same time launching a major push in skilling and human development to empower the young population for the future. It's a dual focus on building both physical infrastructure and human capital.
In the end, what we have is a clear and incredibly ambitious blueprint. It's a massive bet on balancing huge infrastructure projects with deep investments in people. So the critical question that remains is this: can this plan actually be executed effectively on the very long road to 2047?